Greetings. In this video, I will demonstrate how I perform an engine oil change in my Dodge Charger 392 Widebody. The items I used to perform this procedure were gloves that are rated for chemicals, safety goggles, a roll of shop towels, a light source, a 16-quart oil catch pan to drain the used engine oil into, a creeper to help me move around underneath the vehicle, a socket and ratchet set along with power driver, an engine oil filter tool, 7 quarts of SRT rated 0W40 Pennzoil motor oil, Mopar engine oil filter, part number MO899. To begin the engine oil change procedure, I had to first raise the vehicle. For an engine oil change, only the front end of the vehicle is required to be lifted. So I could have gone with the ramp and wheel chock solution, but since I have a quick jack and I also perform a tire rotation along with every oil change, I opted to use the quick jack to lift the entire vehicle in one shot.
Now that we've got the vehicle jacked up, we're going to go underneath and we've got to remove the cover to access the oil drain plug. So the cover I'm talking about is this right here. All right, this plastic piece right here. It actually says on it, remove for engine service. And there are 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3 back there, and 4. So those 4 bolts, once I remove that, this entire plastic piece over here, the cover, will slide back and out. Alright, so I'm underneath the Charger. I've got my power tool with the 10mm socket here. I'm going to unscrew the 4 bolts that are holding this underbelly cover so that I can access the oil drain pan. So let's go. Okay, so now this is the cover that comes right off, slides right back. Keep the 4 bolts somewhere so you have them handy. And now you can access the bottom of the oil pan and the oil drain plug, which is right over here. Okay, so before I loosen the drain plug underneath the vehicle, what I like to do is come over here and loosen the engine oil fill cap. So we're going to loosen it up and kind of just leave it like this. Just kind of leave it ajar like that. This is just so the airflow goes smoothly when we remove the drain plug underneath the vehicle. Before we do that, there's a couple of things. I have a piece of cardboard to protect the floor just in case there's some splash. I've got the ratchet with the 13mm socket to unscrew the plug itself. I got a shop towel here just for myself there. And this is the pan that's going to receive the oil, the old oil. What you have to remember to do is open this so that when the oil drains, it goes into the pan. And I would also open the air vent just so there's airflow. And we're going to slide this thing underneath the car now. And then we're going to go. Now we're underneath the car. Got the oil catch pan aligned underneath the drain plug, which is over here. I'm going to take my ratchet with my 13mm socket, and I'm going to unscrew this oil drain plug. All right. Now, one thing to keep in mind is you don't want to just unscrew it and take it out. You want to do it slowly, because once this thing's all the way out, the oil's going to drain. out, and it's going to come out with a bit of flow. So mind that, and keep that in mind, and that's why you have shop cloth down here also. So I'm just going to get to the point where I can hand untighten this thing and then take it out slowly. Like I said, the shop cloth over here as well. Okay, it's going to come out now. And there we go. Oil is now draining. And you just kind of, it's a waiting game. You just wait for the oil to drain out smoothly and nicely. There's a washer. Sometimes there's a washer like there is at the end of this thing. It's kind of stuck to the oil pan, so I'm going to grab that and then make sure it is seated properly in this groove over here. But anyway, it's draining nicely. Just make sure this stays aligned. What helps with this flow and what helps make sure it doesn't spatter is, remember I unscrewed the oil cap, the oil fill cap up top. That helps a lot to keep this flow smooth and steady. So, all right, I'm just gonna wait for this thing to drain now. We're back here underneath the front of the car. The engine oil has pretty much stopped draining now. So I'm going to put the plug back on. I'm just going to clean the area, just kind of wipe it down a little bit. The area where the drain plug goes. The drain plug itself is wiped clean also. Okay, we don't want any dirt going inside the system here. So here's the drain plug. All right. All right. And the little gasket's in there, that little orange gasket, if you can see that. And I'm going to put this back in. And like I said, I'm going to hand tighten it. It doesn't have to be excruciatingly tight. I'm not sure exactly what the torque spec is, but basically, you know, turn it once, turn it good with this thing. Where it feels tight, it's good. All right, there we go. That's it. Simple as that. All right, that's tight. So that's in. At this point, we've drained out all the oil from the oil pan. There's one thing left before we fill the oil in, and that is to change the oil filter. The oil filter is up here. It is to the right when you're looking at it this way. It is to the right of the drain plug. Okay, I'm going to take my oil filter tool. That's this guy right here. It's just a special socket at the end of a ratchet, and I am going to unscrew the oil filter. When I unscrew the oil filter, what I want to do is I want to put this thing, the drain pan, underneath it, because there's a good chance there's some oil left in there and it's going to spill out. So let's move this over. Okay, kind of underneath there, and just going to unscrew this thing. Okay, unscrew it a little bit. Now, like I said, oil might start draining out. It's a good idea to get the shop cloth. There it is, some oil coming out. If you can see that. All right, I'm gonna let that drain out for a little bit. Then I'm gonna turn it some more and get the rest of, take the whole filter out. Okay, just a couple of minutes for that. And then it's just a matter of unscrewing the filter, putting it in here. Just put it upside down so that it drains into the pan, because there's going to be some oil left inside that filter, some old oil. All right, and you see that's draining out. Anyway, give that a couple of minutes, then we'll unscrew that and prepare the new one and put the new filter in. we've got the new filter here. All right, I'm going to take this out. This is the MO899 filter for this car. So this is what it looks like. All right, it's genuine Mopar part. Okay, that's the number. All right, so what it is since this vehicle, the oil filter goes in this way, meaning, I don't know, upside down, right side up, whichever way you want to consider it, but basically it screws in upwards. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-fill that filter with some oil, with the actual motor oil, you know. Hey, one thing about this oil, keep in mind it's SRT rated, all right? There's something special about the oil for these Hemis, so you have to get the right one. Anyway, that was just an aside. So I'm just going to open this bottle up. This is one of the new ones here. And I'm just going to pre-fill the filter. I'm going to do, well, actually, hold on, I see something here. Just going to wipe the gasket. So this black ring around it, that's the gasket. So what we're going to do is we're going to pre-fill the filter, and we're going to put a little bit of oil on the gasket also. So here we go. Pre-fill the filter right in the center. Okay, just kind of fill it up until it gets out there. All right, that's good. And the reason for doing this is so that when, after the oil change, when you first fire up the engine, you know, the system isn't dry. So there's some oil in the filter, so at least as the flow catches up, you know, as the flow of new oil catches up to the system, the pump and everything, there's at least something when it starts up. All right, so just gonna take a little bit of this oil, and I'm going to just spread it on the gasket there. And this is so, you know, next time when we take this filter out, it doesn't stick to the car because of the heat. Anyway, that's done. That's ready to go. Okay, the oil filter has pretty much stopped draining, so I'm going to unscrew the rest of it and take it out. Okay, here's the remaining oil that's in there. I'll put it in this pan here to drain in there. So this over here is where the oil filter came out from. All right, I'm just going to take a cloth and I'm going to wipe this area down. All right, just kind of clean it out and just install it in this over here. All right, there we go. So it's nice and clean now, and we're going to get the new oil filter and put it in. This is the new filter over here, ready to be installed. I want you to take note of something here. There's some markings on the filter. All right, some graphics here, some pictures. Basically, it's saying exactly what we did. Pre-oil it a little bit. All right, take it, screw it in, and hand tighten it up to +1 turn. I don't know if you can see that, but it says +1 turn over there. All right, and then obviously the rest of the instructions is pour new oil in the car, and that last one is to check the level of oil via the dipstick. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this thing, we're going to put it up there, screw it in, and like I said, like it says, follow the instructions and turn it to +1 turn. All right, let's get this thing up there. Get that aligned. The threads, be very careful not to misthread this thing. It should be real easy. Look how easy it is to spin. It should be real easy to spin, okay? Don't misthread it. Now it's touching the base, all right? I'm going to get my tool and we're going to do +1 turn. All right, so basically that means, get the tool. That would indicate +1 turn, all right? we're almost there. And that's actually pretty tight, so I don't think it's going to go more than this. Where's the markings? Yeah, I don't want to over tighten it, so that's pretty good. Okay, so now we're ready to fill. What you need is a clean funnel, and I emphasize it's got to be clean. All right, take that cap off, put the clean funnel in there, and we're going to pour in all of the oil. This engine takes 7 quarts. We had 7 quarts, so we should be good to go. We used a little bit in the filter itself. So what we're going to do is fill this all in, and at the end we'll check the dipstick. So here we go. Start pouring. One down, 6 to go. Okay, I've got the last one in here now. This is the 7th bottle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this oil cap. I'm just going to put a couple of drops of oil on the thread, all right, before I screw it in. This way, you know, it makes it easier to take out next time. But basically, that's it. We're done here. All right, take this out, take the funnel out, and just screw this back in. All right, there we go. That's done. It's screwed in. Now that we've completed filling the oil into the engine, what we need to do is pull out the dipstick and confirm the level. Make sure it's within the safe zone. So here's the dipstick over here. And take that out. Okay, I'm gonna wipe it first, just with a paper towel. Okay, wipe it like so. Stick it back in. Wait a couple of seconds here. Then pull it up slowly, carefully. All right, and what we got to do is see the level of oil. All right, if you can see the shininess in the camera. All right, I don't know if you can actually make that out, but it's over here at the safe level. So we've got the right amount of oil in there. Not too much, not too little. All right, and that is confirmation that we have poured the correct amount of oil into this engine. So now let's do the leak test. We're looking at the oil drain plug and the oil filter underneath the car. I'm going to go up there and start it, and we're going to make sure there's nothing leaking before we seal it up. Okay, one thing to remember is after completing an oil change, the oil life monitor has to be reset. So it was 9% and I'm about to reset it, and now we're at 100% oil life. That's something very important to do. And you also don't want to do it unless you really did an oil change. So, cool. All right, that's done. Let's start it up and let's do the leak test. All right, you saw that little blip of low oil pressure. And that's what I meant before about putting oil in the filter so that that condition doesn't last too long. So anyway, we started it up, and let's give it a minute. I'm gonna go check underneath, make sure nothing's leaking. Oil drain area looks good, drain plug looks good, and so does the filter. Doesn't look like we have any issues going. So that's a good sign. All right, everything looks good. Oil pressure, oil temperature, no leaks, it's all good. Okay, it's time to put the cover back on. So let's just get this thing aligned and screw it back in. It's basically the exact opposite of what was done to take it out. gotta align the holes with the screws and screw it back in. Okay. All right, well, that's an engine oil change on a Dodge Charger 392 Hemi.